Hello, everybody, and welcome to Antisocial Commentary, episode number 9. We are going to watch Gladiator 2000. Let's go ahead and jump right into the movie, shall we? Action! Okay, so we're going to push play on this version of the Gladiator movie from the year 2000. We're going to push play in 3, 2, 1, play. Here we go. Just going to make sure the subtitles are on. Okay, so it is Sir Ridley Scott's 88th birthday, and also one of my cousin's birthday. Happy birthday, cuz. And I just want to say I appreciate the movies that Sir Ridley Scott has introduced to the world, and I appreciate my cousin. She taught me how to smoke. Love ya, cuz. And when I say smoke, I mean cigarettes. When I first inhaled cigarettes, I guess I didn't do it properly. You're supposed to kind of like hold it in your mouth a little bit and then do the breathe in. It's not like... But anyways, okay, back to the movie Gladiator. So this opening sequence, they wanted to really make it pop before. But at the height of its power, the Roman Empire was vast, stretching from the deserts of Africa to the borders of northern England. Over 1/4 of the world's population lived and died under the rule of the Caesars. In the winter of 180 AD, Emperor Marcus Aurelius's 12-year campaign against the barbarian tribes of Germania was drawing to an end. Just one final stronghold stands in the way of Roman victory and the promise of peace throughout the empire. Okay, so that particular scene was actually supposed to be like popping. It was supposed to be like bunch of visual effects, just like letters coming out of nowhere. But they decided to make it more about the information, and they simplified it in the long run. And his hand grazing over the wheat and all that stuff, that was added later, and we'll talk about that later. Yeah, Russell Crowe was offered this movie in a way where it was like, yeah, we're doing $100 million film, and it's directed by Ridley Scott. He was like, oh, I love Ridley Scott's work. Sign me up. But also, the role was offered to Mr. Mel Gibson. But Mel Gibson turned it down because he felt like he was too old for the project. However, I will say that Mel Gibson was really awesome in Braveheart, which is a lot like this movie in some specific ways, in the way that it's like a epic war timepiece kind of drama. And here we go. Yeah, this part here was in Surrey, England, in the Bourne Forest, and basically really had the permission to burn the place down to the ground kind of thing. Very cool. Lean and hungry. That's the first line of the film, man. Speaking of lean and hungry, Russell did a movie before this where he was like 20 pounds heavier, and he lost the weight by just working on his farm. Now this beheading, like they wanted an introduction to something barbaric, right? But I guess they didn't really want to go over the edge to a certain extent, because later on the movie goes over the edge. But yeah, this one kind of has a subtle quality to its barbarism. I like that guy. That guy's cool, except for whatever, except for a part later. But he's a good actor. He's cool. Quintus, that's the one. Who plays Quintus? Can't remember his name. Gladiator. Who plays Quintus? Tomas Arana. Hope I pronounced that right. But yeah, Tomas Arana does a really good job. Like, just, you know, he does what he's told in this movie. That's one of the conflicts I have about his character. Yeah, it's a beautiful dog. I love the way he stares at his dog there, and there's just some sort of, like, for me anyway, when I see the dog looking back at him, there's something symbolic about, you know, he's the general of an army and everybody's looking up to him. Even man's best friend is his dog there, which was originally supposed to be a wolf or something like that, but they used who they could, and yeah, it's a beautiful dog. Speaking of beautiful dogs, Shane Gillis, Beautiful Dogs, good special, check it out. Law of Attraction. Okay, I wanted to be quiet for that part because that part is my favorite part of the movie, where you know, when he says, "For you are in Elysium and you're already dead." That part speaks wonders to me, and what we do in life echoes in eternity. Just the beautiful poetic part of this beautiful, magnificent film. And I love the way that they laugh at death, laugh at the possibility of death. It reminds me of that Viking nature in a movie I saw called The 13th Warrior, based on a Michael Crichton book. And yeah, it's the way they cackle at death in the 13th Warrior. That part reminds me of that, when he cracks the joke about it, where it's like, ha 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 ha. That kind of stuff. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Check out The 13th Warrior. It's another, like, sword-toting war drama. This battle sequence, first of all, gorgeous, awesome, beautiful. But like, definitely like over the top, and like the what you call it, the arrows. Actually, supposedly, they made about 26,000 arrows. 16,000 of those arrows were fire arrows, and 10,000 of those arrows were just regular arrows to shoot. And even though the what you call it, the effects look cool in that, and they're like the explosions and stuff like that, it just makes me wonder how accurate that particular part of the battle is. Like the the way that there's huge flames being, just all over the place, like that makes me wonder, like I can buy into fire arrows and stuff like that, but like the explosions and stuff, that kind of makes me question. But overall, though, it's just such a beautiful scene, and that they actually chose to keep that dog alive. There was like a question of like, hey, should we kill off the dog in this battle sequence in Germania, in Surrey, England, in the Bourne Forest? And then they elected to keep that dog alive. You can look into it on doesthedogdie.com. I like Ricky Gervais does a stand-up comedy bit. I can't remember. It might be Armageddon is the special he might be I might be talking about here. But when he does in that special, he mentions "Does the dog die?" and juxtaposes that with like Schindler's List. Check it out, good special. Love this part. I'm gonna say that a lot. It's a great movie. There's a lot of parts to love, but that part where he almost like just murders one of his own, like that friendly fire casualties of war kind of stuff, like that's very real, right? Like that happens even today in war standards. Like once in a while you shoot your own friend, or you shoot people that are on your own side. And what I love about Maximus's character is that he recognizes that's part of his team there. He recognizes that immediately. And for me, it reminds me of things that I've learned in like Taekwondo and Muay Thai and stuff like that. Like when I was a kid, I was in Mr. Bell's Taekwondo class, and then when I was a teenager, I got some training from Mike, who used to work at the gym over there, and like basically like what I learned from them is that to make sure you see the enemy first. Like if somebody if somebody's sneaking up behind you and you feel like it's an enemy, make sure you recognize that's your enemy. So it's like there's that self-defense quality that Maximus shows there, that respect for brotherhood and life there, that is just really resonates with me here. And the music is just beautiful, dude. There he is, Marcus Aurelius, played by Richard Harris. Richard Harris was saying, like before taking this movie, that every movie is his last movie until he sees the script. And then, same with the movie he did before this, like, that was my last movie. And then then he saw the script for Gladiator, and he was like, okay, I got one more in me. Glad he had this role, though, Richard Harris. Lucille looks so beautiful in this fucking movie. Lucille played by Connie Nielsen. I like Connie Nielsen in movies like The Hunted with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro. Also, Connie Nielsen was in one of my favorite legal dramas, like horror movies, The Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. She's a really good actress. She was actually also in that movie Soldier with Russell Crowe. That's what Russell Crowe with Kurt Russell. That's one of my favorite Kurt Russell movies. And of course, our main villain, played by Commodus Joaquin Phoenix. But yeah, like Joaquin Phoenix, Ridley Scott said that, you know, as soon as he saw Joaquin Phoenix, he was like, that's who Commodus is. That's who we're going to use for the role of Commodus. Yeah, Marcus Aurelius, like, you know, obviously based on the real Marcus Aurelius. Down in history as somebody who is very strong in philosophy, you know, as a politician. That kind of fits his role as a ruler and all that. But the way they make Marcus Aurelius in this movie, just they make him very magical, you know. And then Commodus, also based on a, you know, the real Commodus in life, but I do love the way Joaquin plays Commodus and just his character overall. One of my favorite rulers, like, he's an anti-hero, just like ingenious, you know, like the dark side basically, is Caligula. And yeah, just like the way Caligula was just an evil megalomaniac, like you know, I'm God kind of feeling, though. And that kind of energy is kind of how Joaquin Phoenix plays Commodus. Yeah, just Caligula's cool, man. Dark as hell, did the most evil shit, but like, you know what I mean, like after, like when you read about history and stuff like that, like Caligula is cool, except for the part where Caligula sends his army to the ocean to throw spears in the ocean because he thinks that the god Poseidon is cursing him or something weird like that. Like, other than that, Caligula, portrayed by Malcolm McDowell in the movie Caligula, so fucking good. I think the one that I relate to the most is Commodus, you know, just lust for power, thinks he's the best thing in the world, kills his own father. No, I'm just joking, but like, no, Commodus is like, even though like he's an evil piece of shit, I think I like evil, like historic figures such as Commodus. So it is Sir Ridley Scott's birthday, and just a quick shout out to my favorite Ridley Scott movies. Alien, like the first original Alien. Without Ridley Scott directing Alien, it might not have been as popular as it is today. Body of Lies, with Leonardo DiCaprio and Russell Crowe. Sorry, it's just such a good movie. Every moment is captivating. I just want to watch it all. I love how Lucille has make love to me eyes for Maximus, like the entire time, you know. Another good Ridley Scott movie. Mentioned it while we watched The Perfect Storm. I mentioned it because Christopher McDonald was in The Perfect Storm. I brought up this movie that Ridley Scott directed, which was Thelma and Louise. It's a really good one. So I tell my daughters every time, you know, like whenever we're hanging out, I'm always like, hey, you know, let's pretend I'm a good dad. Let's pretend, you know, let's just go ahead. But the last Ridley Scott movie that I saw in theaters was actually Napoleon. And I've been juggling this idea back and forth in my mind, like the way Scorsese has Robert De Niro. You know what I mean? Is Russell Crowe closer to Ridley Scott's De Niro? Or is Joaquin Phoenix closer to Ridley Scott's De Niro? Or is the connection that Martin Scorsese and Ridley Scott that they have, is that one just like 1 in a billion, you know? Now, that scene was put in there, you know, everything is on purpose in a Ridley Scott movie. It's not just for like nothing. What they wanted to show was kind of like a foreshadow to Act 3. And Ridley said that he liked, I'm paraphrasing, but he said that he liked Joaquin Phoenix's like vulnerability that he brought to Commodus. Richard Harris. What I love about these old time actors, like he's just such a good actor, you know what I mean? Like all that experience just right there on the screen. Like this man channels Marcus Aurelius. He is Marcus Aurelius, you know. Richard Harris is a genius in this film. Excuse me. This is such a good movie, man. I just want to keep watching it, but Steals the show. Okay, so he's so good. He's so good. I just want to keep watching it. I forget about commentary. Let's just keep watching this, man. That's how good he is. But yeah, Gladiator, was like nominated for like 12 different awards, and then out of the 12 different awards, like one that I'm thinking about right now is actually the costume design by Janty Yates. And I was thinking about that because of the Janty Yates and her costume designing because of the sweet pelts on the shoulders of Maximus. I love his devotion to his family. Just full on integrity from this character that Russell plays. I don't believe in animal cruelty or anything like that, but ironically, I want a fur coat with I want that coat, man. I would look so good in that. It's just so sad that an animal would have to, I eat animals every day. I'm not going to not be I'm not going to become a vegetarian or a vegan overnight. But fur, it looks good, dude. It looks really good. I think that's my native blood talking. But yeah, my native blood is just speaking to me with the fucking pelts and stuff like that the character Maximus is wearing. It makes me wonder if it's real fur. And also my dad was a talented hunter, and before the white man came over, that's only how let's say it's only 30 ancestors ago, so it's 30 ancestors ago, I had to have been, somebody who was very prolific a hunter, That's why I'm just man, I want to go and, make a coat out of a bunch of deer pelts. All those ditch donkeys. But yeah, back to the movie. I guess it is part of the movie though, because just look at the costumes in this entire fucking movie. Lucille, played by Connie Nielsen. She just looks just gorgeous, all decked out like that, The beauty of the Lucille and Maximus relationship is not the will they, won't they. It's more did they already? Sounds like they have a history together. like how they do the shout out to the patriarchy by Marcus Aurelius saying to Lucille, "If only you were born a man, then you would be ruler of Rome." Speaking of patriarchy, I wonder who the first female U.S. president will be. The Simpsons predicted it might actually be Trump's bloodline, but we'll see. Everything about Maximus speaks like a humble quality. That's Ridley Scott's wife, right? Sir Ridley Scott's wife. I cannot remember her name right now, but that's Facio, Christina. I'm gonna look it up. Who is Ridley Scott's wife? Giannina, I can't pronounce that properly. Giannina Facio. We have the very talented Tommy Flanagan playing, I think it's Cicero, he just said, right? But I was looking up Ridley Scott's wife there before then. But yeah, Tommy Flanagan, just an epic, like, good actor. Like, I'm basing that on Gladiator. I'm basing that on Sons of Anarchy. And I'm basing that on Braveheart. Excuse me. Just gotta turn it up. The way Joaquin looks there, just, he's such a good actor, man. Like, his heart's broken. Instant motive. Man, Joaquin doing what he always does. Just digging deep to be the essence of Commodus. His insecurity is part of his evil, and like the way Joaquin delivers that insecurity, even though you know he's like an evil dude. The way Phoenix plays it, you still want to weep with him to a certain degree. This was written by David Franzoni and developed by John Logan and William Nicholson. But, dude, like, it's almost like it's written by Shakespeare himself. That Franzoni, the main screenwriter, like, he must have been a huge Shakespeare fan. No! Sorry. Richard Harris plays it so fucking good. That's a beautiful death scene. Because, like, the mixed emotions of Commodus, loving his father, but at the same time the hatred and evil taking over by killing his father. It's and that evil look. They purposely made Commodus look more pale with darker eyes as like just a natural evil look that adds to Commodus. And like, just, my God, Joaquin is so good as the evil guy. Kind of wish Joaquin would play some more villains. But like, this like sets the bar. See, like, there's Quintus in the background. Tomas Arana, if I'm pronouncing that right. And like, he just has loyalty where he has to have it. Like, this is where I'm conflicted with Quintus's character, played by Tomas Arana. Like, he's loyal to Maximus at the beginning because that's his general, and they're like, even kind of like, it's hard to imagine you as a farmer or whatever. Like, they're shooting the shit. They're like buddies. And like, his allegiance, yes, was to Maximus, but it was originally to Marcus Aurelius because he was the ruler. Not just the way it goes, right? But and then when Marcus dies, his loyalty to Commodus, just there's some sort of conflicted integrity in there that I appreciate from Quintus. And the way Lucille smacks Commodus, because she knows what happened. So good. Love that. Fuck. Yeah, brutal, man. Way it was back in those days. Historically accurate and just a beautiful story that where they use like the authentic 180 AD Rome. And it's just the combination of reality and fiction just meets in a perfect storm of beauty. Now, if you were a part of that execution crew, those 4 guys right there who were ordered to kill Maximus, who was like Rome's greatest general, why wouldn't all 4 of you be around him? You know, we're like, why would you underestimate the cunning and physical like wit of this Rome's greatest general? But this part where he just schools all 4 of them, takes them to school. Fucking love that. Hands are bleeding because he used the blade to stab, and then like fuck, oh man, so good. I've always wanted to learn how to ride a horse, but like unless somebody offers me a movie where I play an engine and I and I have to be a character on a horse or something. The reason I'm not going to do it is because of Christopher Reeves, the way he fell off that horse, and it ruined his life and career, and you know, like, oh my goodness, it's just awful. Like rest in peace, Superman. But yeah, man, just that shit scares the hell out of me. I know it's mediocre to fear falling off a horse and breaking your neck and becoming a quadriplegic, but it happens. Andrew Santino has a really good bit in his special 2025 special White Noise about people falling off horses. Go check out Andrew Santino's stand-up comedy special White Noise. And also in the movie Gone with the Wind, I don't want to give anything away from Gone with the Wind, but falling off a horse, you know, they can buck at any moment, man. And unless you grow up around that stuff, I just, you know, I don't see myself learning to ride a horse unless somebody offers me, you know, $1 million to play, I don't know, Tonto or something. Now this particular scene here, I love the brutality of it. It's so like, when I first saw that part, like my heart dropped and I was like, no way. You know, like this is actually the first time I saw a kid get killed off in a movie when I was a kid. So I was like, no way. And then it turns out that that's the way it went in Rome, man. That's the way it went in Rome. When in Rome, you know, like, jeez. Like a lot of it is like, you know, kill him and kill his bloodline, and that's some pretty epic world domination shit. Now this scene here, this was the first take. Sir Ridley Scott told Russell Crowe, I want snot, I want tears, I want to see your soul weeping. And then, Russell Crowe was like, yeah, man, I will. Yeah, snot, no problem. I'll do it. And look at that. It was like, no actor's vanity being like, snots, I'm not going to do that, Ridley. He was just right on board immediately. No wonder he won an Academy Award for Best Actor in Gladiator. In fact, Russell Crowe actually had imposter syndrome when he won Best Actor. I'll explain it in a bit here, but yeah, that scene where he's like over the rocks in the desert. He's on a plank a couple inches up from the ground, but a lot of people thought it was CGI, but that one was real. So that's just the brilliance of Ridley Scott. That's a practical shot. Yeah, that the maggots on on Russell Crowe's wound there. It was a common practice in those days for maggot therapy to clean out an open wound because the maggots would eat the dead skin and presumably take out some of the infection. Another good actor right there. Djimon, Djimon Hounsou. I can't pronounce his name properly. I apologize. But Djimon Hounsou plays Juba. And I love his work in the movie Blood Diamond. That's like my favorite Djimon performance. He was pretty good in that A Quiet Place Part 3 movie, I think it was, or whatever. But Blood Diamond is, for me, his key role. And he kind of reminded me of my friend Anthony when I was a kid, just a little bit. And the guy in the beard there, that's Proximo, played by Oliver Reed. And the guy's nuts that he's holding. That guy, he plays a lot of side characters in movies and stuff like that. And around this time, I guess he was on the payroll, and he acted in the movie The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, which rumors are circulating there might be a Mummy number 4. But in the first Mummy, he was really good. That dude who had his nuts grabbed. He was good in The Mummy Part 1 with Brendan Fraser. Yeah, that tattoo represents his allegiance to, like, Republic and Rome. I can't remember what it is in the old language. But according to historians, the slavery scenes were historically accurate, and it was like this back then. And they shoot a lot of these scenes in the Moroccan desert, I believe it is. Morocco. Uh, Oliver Reed, Proximo. He's such a good actor, but applause. But yeah, Oliver Reed took this role because he heard that there was a free trip to London over it, and throughout this movie, like he ends up dying, just like one about the time that they're finishing up the movie, and the studio actually had a insurance policy for the actor, and they could have spent that insurance policy $25 million on refilming his scenes. Excuse me. But they elected to keep Oliver Reed in the movie by using body doubles and CGI. And I'm glad they leave Oliver Reed in the movie. Uh, it is said that he died from consuming too much alcohol and having a heart attack from it, is what they said, because he was having a drinking contest. Which at first I was like, how the fuck do they know? but after hearing that he took after hearing that he took this role for a free trip to London, I'm like, okay, that's that's something an alcoholic would do. A free trip to London, man, I can't wait to go get loaded in London. Like it just seems like something that it makes sense. Again, his choice to fight there, like it's not really rebelling against him being a slave. It just for me it speaks more than that. Some form of integrity in knowing that you know just this powerful general who could have schooled that dude like that. So you have the best actor, and what you call best actor won by Russell Crowe. You have the best costume by Janty Yates, and then as far as like visual effects go, it is a combination. Like I said before in other podcasts, it's a combination of practical meets CGI, and John Nelson was the visual effects supervisor of this movie, and he actually won against the movie The Perfect Storm that I did earlier for Antisocial Commentary, but he won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects. John Nelson. Notice the sword. Like, where does it begin as a prop, and where is it in reality? Like, is some of that sword rubber? Is some of that sword like a foil painted kind of, something that won't hurt the actors? Or did Oliver Reed get to handle that sword in that scene? I know it's such a like a small detail, but when he stabs it into the wood like that, I love that, because so many times they're like, oh, we can't trust the actor with this weapon, and then they use rubber weapons, or they use somebody else's hands. But in this in this movie, like that Oliver Reed scene, that looks like a real sword. Looks like he really did that. And I appreciate that, Opposed to this fucking rubber mace. Again, there's that integrity and coolness that Russell Crowe has by not like belittling the guy that takes a piss in front of him. The choreography in the battle scenes, plus the costumes, plus the good acting, plus those quick like switch to effects. Just no wonder they won Best Picture. That dude there who throws that soldier up on the what you call it, on the sharpened pole thing. That dude, his name is Ralf Moeller, and yeah, he's like also like funny in this movie, but also like just like jacked and like just that big tough guy and all that shit. But in real life, he actually won Mr. Universe, I believe, in 1986. And him and Arnold Schwarzenegger are like bros, And like as far as like Ralf Miller Moeller, sorry, as an actor goes, like just another shout out to the Broken Lizard movie, Beer Fest. Like if you watch the movie Beer Fest, Ralf Moeller plays one of the Germans, and yeah, he's hilarious in that movie. Where like he eats one of the glasses in the movie Beer Fest. Go check it out. Ralf Moeller's in there, and he plays one of the Germans. It's so good. The Germans are hilarious in that one. Yeah, like Will Forte, and that I can't remember that other guy's name, but he passed away recently. Now I want to look it up. 1 second here. The Germans in Beer Fest. Jürgen Prochnow. Yeah, like that guy's a familiar face. Yeah, he also plays in that movie Beer Fest. But yeah, back to this movie. The real steps of the on this thing here were like actually 4 steps, and then the rest is CGI. But when I first saw it, I thought it was real because that's how good the effects are, and I was questioning. I was like, is that like the same place they used for the movie Caligula with Malcolm McDowell? But no, it's CGI, and 4 or 5 steps. Gracchus is cool. That's Derek Jacobi, another good actor. I love how cocky this guy, how cocky Joaquin Phoenix is right there when he's twirling his sword around. The naivety of his character dismissing books, like education, like just it shows up there, that youthful cockiness, like he's gonna change the game. That part where Gracchus made everybody laugh there. Yeah, that part where Gracchus made everybody laugh there from his like, then perhaps you'll show us with your years of experience. Yeah. Whatever it was, there like that patronizing tone, like he's playing that pretty close to the chest with any ruler, you know what I mean, for his character to say something like that. Again, like Commodus's like insecurity just right there. Yeah, I think it was Ridley Scott who said that. I think it was him who said that this part of the film, where it shows that they live in this huge palace or whatever, like the Roman palace or whatever it is, like the way it shows like that domestic quality of them being at home. He really appreciated that from the set designers. And yeah, again, just that delusional quality, that the young nature that Commodus has, that's in all of us, man. That's in all of us. Like when I was a teenager, and like I'm sure like when a lot of you were teenagers or whatever, whoever's watching this, they're like, I'm sure a part of you thought you're gonna change the game and like, reinvent the wheel, whatever it is. And just seeing that naivety placed in such such an area of power, and just it's epic because it has happened in real history. Now that CGI was pretty good for the year 2000. Like a lot of really good video games came around the year 2000, and I feel like they could have rendered that just a little bit better in 2000, but overall it works for the movie. So much that they won an Oscar for it. So but the CGI effects in this movie, like they won an Oscar at the 73rd Oscars, and they beat the movie The Perfect Storm. But I would just like to compare the CGI for a second here. Like the CGI in Gladiator is brightly lit, and that makes the CGI look more like it is computer generated. The CGI in The Perfect Storm, a lot of that CGI is in the night of the storm. So the effects in my eyes look better in The Perfect Storm, like when it's computer generated, like that one scene over the Roman Colosseum. Like in The Perfect Storm, the storm was great. Like the storm looked real. And then in Gladiator, the Colosseum, that looked very animated. But it's still, you're still like enveloped in this realm of the movie. I like to believe that this awesome part, kick-ass part, I like to believe that this is part of the reason Maximus didn't beat the shit out of Hagen, played by Ralf Moeller. Just that humble quality. And then this part. Love that. Love that. Like he despises the crowd, right? And he even like dogs them, right? Like, are you not entertained? Like all that shit, like the way he goes like that. You like mix that with the way like he spits on the ground, like he despises the crowd, and then the crowd just loves him that much more for it. And like Maximus being based on Spartacus, like they had that same quality where they both kind of despised the mob, right? The mob mentality that these people have watching the games and shit like that. Like, just I love that. I love that. Are you not entertained? So good. This is the scene where Oliver Reed shines. the way that Oliver Reed there, yeah, Proximo, kind of the way he like teaches them the ropes of the gladiator perspective because he lived through that. I love that. And Maximus as like Rome's greatest general once upon a time, right? His character having the willingness to learn from Proximo. It just adds to the depth of his character development throughout the movie. Again, just a shout out to the costume designer for that solid piece of armor or whatever. They're like, yeah, man, that's awesome. That Janty Yates. I believe this is in Morocco. So the earlier scene was like Surrey, England, and then just like the rest of it being around like Italy and all that stuff. Like, just a shout out to all of the great locations in this movie. All of that Team 2 footage. Team 1 filming the movie, right? And then like Team 2 going out there and getting establishing shots in the world and stuff like that. See, like this part you can tell CGI, but it's still like still good. Like for the year 2000, it's pretty solid. So I can't help but feel that if the Americans were just a little bit closer to the Japanese and Chinese over there, like the rendering that they did in the year 2000 with video games and stuff like that, like over there in Asia. I feel like the movie could have been just a little bit more realistic looking if they had the same kind of professional expertise in the world of animation and rendering as much as the Japanese and Chinese did back then, when they were just a little bit ahead of us back then, CGI speaking. So right now we're about halfway through the movie, and yeah, just Just an excellent movie throughout. And this creepy fucking scene where Commodus watches over Lucius. Lucius played by what the hell's his name? Spencer Treat Clark, right? Is that, yeah, Spencer Treat Clark. And yeah, just that look that Joaquin gives Lucius, like Commodus gives Lucius. Just like, should I kill him now? No, my sister will probably be mad at me, but I'm gonna have to kill him eventually, because, it's a threat to his power. It just speaks on different levels, See, there's that megalomania again. I will make Rome the wonder of ages. Just painting this evil, twisted character who just thinks he's God, and like he's never gonna die, like he's immortal. Speaking of Joaquin Phoenix, with directed by Ridley Scott. I saw Napoleon in theaters. So fucking glad I went to see Napoleon in theaters. And what I find neat is that the way Commodus is, is nothing like Napoleon, but like Napoleon is a lot like Maximus. I find that neat for some reason. Because like when you see Joaquin Phoenix playing Napoleon, just the way he is a lot more like Maximus in Napoleon, and like it just shows the phenomenal range of Joaquin Phoenix. Such a good actor. Yeah, I mentioned before that Joaquin Phoenix was up for the role in American History X, Edward Norton's part, but I think he didn't want to take it because because of the racism or something like that. But if somehow that would have affected his appearance in Gladiator, I'm glad things worked out the way they did. Yep, Proximo can't do anything against Big Brother. And this part is very it shows the like the kindness that Maximus has by toying with the boy to a certain extent here. But the way that Maximus interacts with Lucius, like right now, like he doesn't know that it's the Lucius, but the way that Maximus interacts with Lucius, just for me, that speaks to why Marcus Aurelius was like, "You shall lead Rome." You know, like just that all around quality, just a man of the people. You know, like just there's so many more levels because I think about like what would have happened if you know Gladiator Maximus ended up ruling and stuff like that. Like throughout the movie, you see all of his qualities as a ruler and leader, starting with being a general of an army, and then treating the little people like Lucius with respect and almost camaraderie by saying that he could crush a boy's head or whatever. I love that gladiator mask. It reminds me of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And, like Assassin's Creed Odyssey is alright. It's just the parkour since Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. Like, the parkour is just going downhill because they're sacrificing it for a different kind of map structure. And just, the parkour sucks in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, dude. Which is why I played it for a while. Like I got to like level 13, which takes a while. And I haven't played it in a while just because like the parkour is not as fun as Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. But yeah, that mask, you get to wear a bunch of different suits and armor in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and there's a bunch of different masks that kind of look like that. And the system that they have for the armor is a lot like the game Destiny, if that makes sense to any video game nerds out there. So that crowd out there in the Colosseum, a lot of that crowd is cardboard cutouts. So there's real people, there's some CGI, and then there's cardboard cutouts in the crowd here. This general speech that he's giving here. That leader-like speech that he gives there. I feel like, couldn't you have said that in the locker room, dude? Like, we're out here in the fucking heat of it now, and now you're going to tell us this? Why didn't you tell us this before? We could have came up with a plan together, but, I think for time's sake, they just put it all right there on the battlefield. Again, the effects are just so fucking fun, like bloody, gory, messy, rated R, fuck yeah. It's like wide shot for like the setup, close shot for like the gore, and then back to the wide shot to make it look like it's like a like a finishing move. It's so fucking just classic filmmaking, you know? But yeah, this part here, like, it's Maximus doing a homage to Spartacus as the leader of the slave revolt. Hell yeah, dude. No. It's got excited there. Yeah, that scene where that black chick gets cut in half. That's epic, dude. So fucking awesome. And you could tell he's buddies with Arnold. Get out there. Probably took a couple of tips from Arnold before doing this movie. Man, this makes me want to watch Spartacus again. I think I'm going to have to watch Spartacus after this, man. Classic. Classic. No, I'm Spartacus. See, if he just decided to get the slaves together right then and there, like, single what? Single what? You know, I feel like people would be like, what did he say? But it still works totally, 100%. 110%. That's how fucking awesome this is. Oh, that music again. Like Hans Zimmer. So fucking good, dude. Yeah, back in the old time, in the long ago, kids, they had this thing called the record store. And you would go in this record store like CD Plus, and you'd see some like cool hipster chick behind the cash register, and you'd be like, "Hey, where can I find the soundtrack to Gladiator?" And then she would lead you to soundtracks, and you could buy the soundtrack. And I bring that up because Gladiator, the soundtrack, because of Hans Zimmer, like it was one of the best-selling soundtracks of all time. And the way that I mentioned James Horner from The Perfect Storm, rest in peace, James Horner. The way that I mentioned James Horner from The Perfect Storm, Coming Home from the Sea was the song's name. Like the song In Here We Are Free by Hans Zimmer, to me that's like another character in the music, in the movie, you know, to a certain extent. Originally, Luciano Pavarotti was asked if he wanted to do the music department, and he declined and then regretted it later. But it does kind of make me wonder what that would have sounded like. Russell Crowe's Gladiator. Should he kill Commodus? Oh no, there's Lucius. You know, I'm just, I just wonder how Pavarotti would have done it. I'm sure it would have been filled with heart and soul. I was just making fun there, but. Love that look Ralph was giving Commodus. Yes, that's why he won fucking Best Actor that year, and he totally deserved it. He had imposter syndrome about it, but he was like, I don't deserve this. Ridley Scott deserves the Oscar. But like, dude, that part is just so good. That outfit, that Joaquin Phoenix is wearing, like, just could you imagine how like you would be like the belle of the ball? You know what I mean? Like, so if you fucking had that costume and you showed up at what you call it, like somebody's Halloween party. Fuck, that'd be like the coolest one ever, just to have that movie quality fucking thing. That's such a good costume, dude. I would look good in that. But I think I'd look better in the fur coat. That's my native blood speaking to me right there. Don't forget about the fur coat. Then Lucille just looking fucking gorgeous in her like weird blue tiara and shit like that. I like the way that Hagen, played by Ralf Moeller, like how he was like smiling away, basking in the victory of the day. And the music kicking in, just everything clashing together. All the cardboard cutouts cheering. No, I'm joking. But yeah, like, it's the perfect movie, dude. The perfect movie from the year 2000. Excuse me. Hagen and Juba leading their leader through the crowd there. So awesome. God damn it. Connie Nielsen, like, look at her right there. Look at that. Gorgeous. It's only been 25 years. She's still gorgeous. She'll always be gorgeous. What am I talking about? She'll always be gorgeous. I don't think they lied to him, though. I think they literally thought the four guys that they sent Maximus with, I think they literally thought that he completed, that those four guys completed the job and killed Maximus. So I don't think it was a lie. I think it was just like okay, now that that's over, let's focus on what we got to do here. With Quintus there being a loyal soldier to Marcus Aurelius, and then when he dies, he's a loyal soldier to Commodus. So you can't really blame him for betraying Maximus because that's his empire. So it's like there's a conflict there where it's like, even though Quintus, when he says to Maximus, your family will meet you in the afterlife, you're like, you son of a bitch. But at the same time, there's that integrity in Quintus's character to have his allegiance to the empire. That look, like, that both of them give each other. You can cut the tension with a knife. But yeah, there's like a certain authenticity that Connie Nielsen brings to this role. She plays it like she's genuinely oppressed. But yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, she looks defeated while she's speaking to Maximus. And that speaks to her character being oppressed by her brother, who is ruler of Rome. And she has no place else to go. So in a way, she kind of gives Maximus like a extra motivation. The only thing I would have changed in her performance there is if I could just see one teardrop for Maximus telling her to forget that she ever knew him. Like, if she just had one tear there, I think that would have made me cry. And you know how hard it is to make me cry. Don't watch The Perfect Storm with me, man, unless you want to see me weep. This scene shows some of Ralf Moeller's comedic acting chops. Excuse me. I had Ridley Scott talking with the editor that, like, was Ralf Moeller Mr. Universe? And they're like, he's gotta be. Look at how big he is. Yeah, he won Mr. Universe in 1986. And then they mentioned the sense of humor that Ralf Moeller has as a person. And again, that they show that in the movie Beer Fest with Ralf Moeller and as the Germans, and one of the Germans. So yeah, you cut to a small section of the crowd, all real people, and then you zoom out to the whole Coliseum, and then you add in the cardboard cutouts. There's a cardboard cutout. You just missed it. Tommy Flanagan's scars, sorry to bring them up there, but like his scars, they always work for his characters. And unfortunately, this talented Scottish actor, Tommy Flanagan, was jumped by a gang and like stabbed and cut up, and that's where those scars come from. So just for Tommy to have that look and to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm an actor, this is what I do, and then just keep being an actor with that fucking real life scar on his face. Like, the characters he gets, it works wonders. But like that, he's inspirational for the fact that he's a world famous actor with real scars on his face. Aw. I love that line though by Oliver Reed. I'll talk about that one a little bit later. I'll tell you why later. My God, look at Connie Nielsen in that red there. In red. Like, she just realized that, like, Maximus is still alive and all that stuff. She was dressed in blue at the last games or whatever. And now that she knows that Maximus is still alive, her choice to dress in red, that always means a lady, means business. I think that was on purpose from Ridley Scott himself, Sir Ridley Scott. Can't remember how the studio said it, but basically the studio was kind of like encouraging Russell to be like friends with the tiger or something like that. But then when it came to playing a game like soccer, he was like forbade from the studio to not play soccer. And he was laughing that, you want me to play with tigers, but you won't let me play soccer or football. I always thought that was cool. And even though it's like choreography and they're dancing, like even though they're dancing in this choreography, just the Sun Tzu style tactics with that, like, just, just like Maximus just being full on out, like just full general, like just that Sun Tzu quality here. Like, I'm mentioning that because of the way that he ends up getting the best of his enemy coming up here. Excuse me. Right here. That part right there, man. That fucking part right there. As soon as you remove your enemy's mobility, it's just so much easier to conquer. If you can make your enemy limp, it's hard for them to run as fast as they can and parry as fast as they can. So there's just so much more depth to the battle style of Maximus as a character. Oh, this guy who yells out something, check it out, Chico. Like, I love that. Like, it's like, just like that one guy in the crowd who's like a stand-up comedian screaming out Maximus the Merciful, and everybody cheers and laughs like that. I love that part. Reminds me of when George is talking about a part he wanted to speak during a movie that he was watching, where like a big explosion happens. He's like, that's gotta hurt. He was like, I'm gonna go back to the theater and try that bit out again on Seinfeld. Reminds me of that to a certain extent for some ridiculous reason. But back to this movie. Yeah. But yeah, the soldiers surrounding Maximus right now, just like those capes, helmets. Not a huge fan of the purple, but still matches Commodus. I'm sure the purple is for authenticity, though. In an interview, Joaquin Phoenix spoke to Johnny Cash. That part right there. Burn. But no, like that part right there though, like that part where we mentioned killing his son and his wife there. What Commodus said, Joaquin Phoenix was talking with Johnny Cash, and Johnny Cash was saying to that part in Gladiator that where you tell Maximus that he killed his wife and his son. You know that part? That's my favorite part right there. That's my favorite part. Yeah, Johnny Cash told Joaquin Phoenix while Joaquin Phoenix was studying the role for Walk the line there. Johnny Cash said that was his favorite Joaquin Phoenix line, particularly in Gladiator, you know? And yeah, Johnny Cash was just like laughing up a storm while he was like, yeah, that's my favorite part right there. So good. Excuse me. I wonder if Christopher Reeves had his heels up when he was riding his horse. I was laughing at Joaquin whining and his insecurity. Pride before the fall, ladies and gentlemen. Pride before the fall. Commodus is too proud to kill Maximus. Greed, wrath, lust, pride, just all of those qualities that Joaquin conveys as Commodus. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So yeah, Tommy Flanagan plays Cicero. And the hardest thing about like Cicero's character is like the Scottish accent it's in the way just a little bit, but I mean, like, you buy into Russell Crowe's like English accent, so why not buy in? Why not buy into Cicero's Scottish accent? You know. But that was one problem I had in Sons of Anarchy with Charlie Hunnam. Like Tommy Flanagan is awesome in Sons of Anarchy, perfect. But Charlie Hunnam or whatever, the fact that Charlie was playing an American, and I could always hear Charlie's accent. That was always like an issue for why Sons of Anarchy, like, it could have been better. But I still watched every episode of Sons of Anarchy because like all my friends were into it and all that stuff. I was like, okay, I gotta see this show all the way through so that I can have a real opinion about it. And my opinion about Sons of Anarchy, really good show. 4-star show, at least 4 out of 5. Yeah. OP. Okay, let's talk about this movie now. This, of course, being Gracchus's downfall. Marcus. Just that, like, character's love for Marcus Aurelius. Maximus thought of Marcus as his real father, right? That's why he gave him a kiss when he died and called him father. Just the motivations of Maximus just all converging, just perfectly written. Throughout this movie, I barely even noticed Oliver Reed's disappearance because, like, the doubles and the CGI are so good that you can't tell when he's, when it's not him and then when it is him for the most part. I like to think that that's what helped John Nelson get an Oscar for this movie as the visual effects supervisor. Like, I like to think that bringing back Oliver Reed after he passed away, after he drank too much alcohol and had a heart attack, I can't help but think that John Nelson won an Oscar because he resurrected Oliver Reed and his character Proximo, and just gave him a second life. Hell yeah. Sorry, it's just so captivating. Just the eerie music. The eerie music, and then like Commodus on the edge of like madness almost. Even though that's like the edge of madness, but it's like his psychotic nature. And then his sick fucking love for his sister. Wanting to have a pure bloodline with his sister and stuff like that. Oh, man. Yeah, not only does Commodus have that twisted love for wrath and power, just that fucked up lust he has for his sister. And then his sister has to keep up the charade because she is in between a rock and a hard place, completely oppressed by the madman that is her brother ruling this nation. Like, it is Shakespearean, dude. Like I swear, dude, that what's his name there? That David Franzoni, dude. Like I swear, man, he must have an undying passion for Shakespeare, because there are so many Shakespearean elements in this entire film. Oh yeah, Cicero. That name. I always think about Paul Cicero in Goodfellas. Played by Paul Sorvino. Yeah, the insecurity Commodus has for his father loving Maximus more than him, kind of thing. I think I had that feeling before, like it was just an insecurity. Like when I was a bit younger. Like, I love my sister. She's great. And she has a cool guy as her baby dad. And I remember when I was younger, there was a point in time where my dad and my sister's baby daddy, it just seemed like my father was treating him better than he has ever treated me. So that insecurity is very real in all sons, I believe. That being said, as far as I know, Drayton, you're my only son. If you ever see this video, you just know that I love you. And graduate or learn to sell tickets. Get an act together and learn to sell tickets, or graduate and keep staying in school. Love you, my boy. I would never trade you for anybody. Aw, Spencer Treat Clark playing Lucius there. Rats out his mom. But I like Spencer Treat Clark in what's that movie he was in there? Unbreakable with Bruce Willis. And he also makes a return in the movie, I think it's Glass, which is part of the trilogy, I think. Unbreakable, Split, Glass. Solid trilogy. I'm laughing because I like the cloaked euphemisms of her betraying Commodus for Maximus. Just shows the divisiveness of Commodus. Even Lucius is like, you're talking about something else, aren't you? Beautiful. Those tears. Yep, good old Uncle Merle from fucking Signs there. Swing away, Merle. As far as like horror movies, like has Joaquin Phoenix ever been in like a horror movie? Does Signs count? I don't know, but I like Signs. It's not exactly horror, but there's a part in it that's terrifying. Yeah, man, Joaquin Phoenix, he's such a fucking legend. Like, my favorite roles with Joaquin Phoenix, Joker 1. That's it. I'm not even going to bring up. And then another movie that I really like with Joaquin Phoenix is You Were Never Really Here. It's a really good movie with Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix looks jacked and You Were Never Really Here. And then 8 Millimeter. That's another really good movie by him. And Ladder 49. Yeah. Love the way Proximo scoffs there. This music right here. The goddamn Black Pearl. It's fucking Pirates of the Caribbean. Strength and honor. Aw. Maximus, don't forget about Hagen and Juba. The brothers, man. The brothers, aight? Was my impression of the guy from American History X in the laundry room. Oh, yeah. Proximo. And that right there is why I love that Shadows and Dust line, because it is the last words of Proximo in this movie before they kill him off. No, Ralf Moeller! But yeah, Shadows and Dust, though, like, it's just, that is a very realistic perspective for everybody alive. You know what I mean? Just like, I know it's a little bit pessimistic, but we are here for but a brief moment, ladies and gentlemen, so you make sure you live your lives to the fullest and finish watching Gladiator with me. No! Tommy Flanagan. Loyal to the end. Rest in peace, Cicero. That evil Falco. That dude who plays Falco, like, to me, that dude who plays Falco looks like the musician Falco. Like, just an older version of him. If you watch the music video for Amadeus by Falco, he kind of looks like that. Or the music video Egoist by Falco. Those are the only two Falco songs that I know that I like, so that sick son of a bitch. Connie. She plays such a broken woman here. Hell yeah. That right there is the genius of Joaquin Phoenix, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you gotta love the Colosseum. Like the Colosseum replica that they made. Like some of it, blue screen, green screen, stuff like that. But the fact that they built a replica of the Colosseum. That outfit. That's one of the taglines. Gladiator that defied an emperor. Hell yeah. That fear comes from hell yeah. But that fear that Commodus has, like the way you combine Commodus's fear with Commodus's megalomania, and like the way that he sees himself as immortal in a way. You add that with, and that adds up. Like a lot of fear in life comes from our mortality. Without that fear, like instinctively telling us to stay away from the serpent, or instinctively telling us not to jump off a tall building, or instinctively, just like that fear is from our mortality as mortal creatures. And you combine Commodus having that immortality, I'm going to last forever energy. Excuse me. You combine that with his fear. It's just such a really cool conflict within Commodus, regardless of how evil of a person and villain he is in this story. To me, psychologically, that speaks wonders and just accuracy to that lust for power. And yeah, here we go, baby. Here we go, baby. So in the first act of this movie, you see Commodus playing Gladiator with a bunch of people around him, and they were sword fighting at the beginning, but like in a way where they were just practicing the motions and stuff like that. That's where this comes into play, and that's why Ridley Scott had that in the movie. Because even though there's that vulnerable quality of Joaquin, particularly right here when he starts to feel human or something, like it just Everything just works out perfectly. That right there is why I love Quintus. Because, like, his allegiance, yes, it's to his empire, but, like, there's also, like, that conflict inside of him because, like, you know, that Quintus has to know that Commodus killed his father and all that. Like, you just, the way that Commodus plans an unfair fight by stabbing the shit out of Maximus before they start battling. And then, like, everything we saw in the movie, for Quintus to be like, no, shield your swords. It's bloody Shakespearean, I tell you. Yes. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Then the whole fucking Colosseum going silent. It's magic. And now back to that hand at the beginning of the movie grazing through the wheat grass. Or through the wheat and all that stuff there. Ridley Scott said, he lets you know that Maximus Ridley Scott lets everybody know that Maximus is going to die at the beginning when his hands are running through the wheat right there. Everything is on purpose in this film. It's so good. So fucking good. Now she's free from her brother's tyranny. And he gives Marcus Aurelius somewhat of his dying wish to have a freer Rome. And the rose petals reuniting with Ridley Scott's baby mama. no, I mean Ridley Scott's wife. The beauty that when his hand is running through the wheat, that's like Ridley Scott, Sir Ridley Scott, happy birthday, is showing us heaven for Maximus the entire time. And it's just nice to see that Juba is alive still. Juba is in a good place. Maximus gave Juba hope. Gave everybody hope, man. Lucille's free. Lucius doesn't have to worry about his uncle fucking stabbing the shit out of him. Oh my god. That's why I won Best Picture, everybody. That's why I won Best Picture at the 73rd Oscars, and that's why Russell Crowe won Best Actor. Man, it's just one of the more perfect movies that I've ever seen in my day and age. And if you watched this movie with me, I just want to say thank you for sticking with me for the whole 2.5 hours. Today, again, is Ridley Scott's birthday, and I have his birthday right there. Like, his original birthday was 1937, November 30th. And he is 88 years old, and this podcast is dedicated to Ridley Scott for being just one of the goats of filmmaking. So thank you for watching. Antisocial Commentary, Episode 9, Gladiator, the year 2000, won 5 Oscars. Just a fucking phenomenal movie, dude. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Cut. Cheers. Love. Respect.